Hi, I'm Michael.
And I'm Cherise. We post weekly videos all about personal branding and finance.
And we're helping young professionals to improve every single day.
That's the Akinle way.
So, if you want to get from here to here, make sure you subscribe and we're going to help you get there.
And if you already knew all of that, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. And today we're going to be talking about something that's super important. We are going to be giving you guys tips, about 10 tips on how to cope with failure. So we're going to get straight into it, right? So the first thing is learning how to embrace your emotion, right?
Okay.
And the reason this is a really important tip is because many times when we fail, it brings about feelings of embarrassment, you feel ashamed, you feel sad. But actually, trying to run away from those emotions is what you shouldn't try to do. But actually learn to embrace those emotions instead and admit, okay, you know what? I failed, it's embarrassing, but I'm going to get over it, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you felt like that before.
Definitely. Just think about the times that you have failed, like recently, and it doesn't feel good. You can't just say, don't care, or just leave it, or it's like it's not happening to you, or that you're not having these feelings at all. You acknowledge that you have these feelings, and then is what you do with those feelings that helps you to deal with the failure.
Great. Allowing yourself to feel bad, it's actually motivating, and it allows you to work harder to find better solutions. So that's our first tip. Embrace your emotions. It's super important. Our second tip is to recognize unhealthy attempts to reduce pain. And I can give you guys a few examples of this one, right? So maybe like you had a bad job interview and you say to yourself, oh, I never wanted that job anyway. Or maybe you like someone and like you went on your first date and you were so looking forward to it, but it didn't go the way you planned for it to go, and you're like, I really didn't like him anyway.
Yeah, there was something about him I didn't really like, he wasn't the one.
So we are essentially advising you guys to actually learn coping skills with that. So it's really, really important.
And how would you cope?
How would I cope?
Best way to cope.
And that's actually going on to our next tip, right? So it's to practice healthy coping skills.
Okay.
Healthy coping skills can be something like calling a friend to talk about it. So you just come off a really bad day, absolutely like
failed the test,
failed the exam.
Yeah.
Imagine you feel like exam, like I didn't care about the exam anyway. Imagine like exam that's gonna get you into uni. Come on now. Calling a friend really helps. Breathing really helps. Going for a walk, like for me, going for a walk works really, really well, especially maybe when I've not had a good day at work. I go for a walk, I exercise. Some of you, baking might help, cooking might help, or cleaning, as Cherise said. So these are really good, coping skills that you guys can use. Like, do not resort to eating junk food. I know people that they maybe just broke up with their boyfriend or their girlfriend and just they sit and binge on Netflix and Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Like, don't do that. Or they just go to McDonald's and buy 5 burgers. Imagine you get a Happy Meal to make yourself feel happy. Guys, practice healthy coping skills, okay?
Don't do anything violent, don't hurt yourself, and don't hurt others either. That is just not.
And don't hurt others with your words. Like, a lot of the times when you go through failures, you have a lot of frustration boiling inside of you, and sometimes that can easily come across in a conversation where you lash out, your tone of voice doesn't come across as very, very friendly. So that's something to be mindful of, okay? Our fourth tip is to acknowledge irrational beliefs about failure. Guys, acknowledge irrational beliefs about failure. So irrational beliefs can be something like, I'm really bad at this job, or I will never succeed in what I do, and stuff like that.
Wasn't for me anyways.
Exactly.
Or this job wasn't for me anyways.
Or this business, I shouldn't have started it because I knew it wasn't going to work.
It wasn't the right time, I wasn't ready.
Exactly.
No.
What Cherise just mentioned there are irrational beliefs about failure, and you need to learn how to acknowledge those and overcome them, right? Those are inaccurate beliefs about failure, and those are beliefs that can really hold you back.
Exactly. From doing anything else in your life, or from reaching your potential, reaching your success. If you feel like, oh, I wasn't supposed to do it anyways, just because you failed at it, does that make sense? It doesn't. So that's how you know that it's an irrational belief that you shouldn't hold on to, because if you say that about this thing, you're going to say that about something else down the line, and then your life is just going to be one cycle of you get stuck, you fail something here, you fail something there, and then you stop. It's over because it wasn't meant for you, or you wasn't ready to do it. Does that make sense? No. So you want to dispel those myths, dispel that limiting belief. Don't hold on to that irrational. Like, it will come. Can't say that it won't, but it will come. But you just like tell it to get out of here, because you know that it's stupid, it's nonsense, and it's not right. It's not accurate. It's not the truth, basically.
Absolutely correct. Fifth tip is to develop realistic thoughts about failure, right? So when you're feeling hopeless, reframe your thoughts. When you have those thoughts like Sharice just mentioned, you're feeling hopeless, you're feeling ashamed, you're feeling, oh my God, I'll never succeed. No, say to yourself, I can handle failure. I can learn from my failure. I can succeed, right? And this is a really good one. Like, I'm failing, great. That is a sign that I'm challenging myself, right?
Yes.
A lot of people don't think like this, right? They never think that, you know, when you fail in something, you never feel as though, okay, like this is evidence that you're actually challenging yourself, right? So this is a really, really good, you know, tip for you guys to walk away from.
You don't know everything. Nobody knows everything, and nobody's perfect. But the fact that you tried, the fact that you're doing something different, the fact that you've stepped out of your comfort zone is a great win in itself. So you're not going to be perfect, you know, straight first time you're stepping out of your comfort zone, trying something new. You're not going to be a pro at it. You know, you're gonna be an amateur, and everybody starts off with nothing. Everybody starts off as a beginner. So what are you gonna expect to be at pro level at tennis when you just pick up a racket the first day? Like, no. So you're gonna understand that and give yourself some credit, give yourself some grace, and, you know, have these thoughts that are gonna promote you to continue stepping out of your comfort zone, continue trying new things, continue first, second, third, fourth, fifth attempts, continue going. Makes you a fighter, gives you like that vim, that tenacity, continues to develop that inside you, so you keep going, and regardless of failure.
Really good points, babe. Thank you. The sixth tip for you guys is to accept appropriate level of responsibility, right?
Okay.
And this is a big one, because taking on too much responsibility may actually cause you to unnecessarily blame yourself, right? And why is this important, right? First of all, don't blame other people.
Okay.
Right? That's the first thing. So don't blame other people, and don't blame unfortunate circumstances. It prevents you from learning from it.
How does it prevent you from learning from it?
It prevents, because if I'm constantly blaming people and I'm constantly looking for excuses, oh, it was that person's fault, it was this person's fault, then what's going to happen is that I don't give myself the opportunity to learn from it anymore. Do you get what I mean?
Because it's not your fault.
Exactly, it's not my fault. So I start looking at, you know, unfortunate circumstances, if you get what I mean. So that's why we say, you know, don't look for excuses, but look for ways where you can learn from your mistakes. Okay? Our seventh tip is to research famous failures.
Whoa.
Right? This is one we can talk about. Like, we know loads of famous failures. Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey. You guys know the famous Thomas Edison. A famous failure could be someone that you actually maybe look up to. You know, I can bet if you sit down with someone that you look up to, right, and you ask them, what was your biggest failure? They won't give you one. They'll give you 5, 10.
Yeah.
Right? Entrepreneurs fail all the time. People like me in my job, I work in sales. Oh my God, I fail every single day, babe, right?
Yeah, all those rejections and all those times that you feel like, okay, trying to close the sale, you're trying to, you know, have all these things in your pipeline, you think, yeah, it's gonna come through, there's gonna be some fruit from it, and it doesn't happen. It's a failure. But do you look at it like it's the end of the world? No. And that's why you do the research to look at the famous
and understand
failures.
What they did to cope with it, and how they learn from it.
Because they are successful, famous people. How? And like, how are they famous and successful if they failed? So that obviously means that failure is not part of the equation for success, or it is a part of it, but it's not a massive part that makes them not be able to fail and not be able to succeed.
Our eighth tip is ask yourself what you can learn from this failure. So let me give you some examples. For those of you that maybe are in university and preparing for exams, or have just done exams, that is a great example of what you can learn. What can I learn? You know, when you get your results back, maybe you can learn, okay, maybe I didn't study enough. Maybe I need to time manage myself better to study. You know, it's a funny one. You went on a date, it went really bad, but instead of saying, oh, he wasn't right anyway, and a lot of girls do this, right? Or a lot of guys do this, you know, when they go and report back to their friends, I wasn't really feeling it. But actually, did you actually ask yourself, what could I have done better? How could I have been more engaging on that day? You know, maybe like you go to a job interview. Amazing example of what you can learn. Some companies actually give you feedback nowadays, right?
Yeah.
learn from it. Guys, trust me, life is about learning. But
Honestly.
if you learnings can't exist without failures
and mistakes that you make.
and mistakes, there can't be no learnings, right?
And that's why a lot of famous people, a lot of quotes that you see say failing is the best thing that's ever happened to them. Like failing, they love it. Like they live off the failures because they stack up the failures to get to the success, basically.
Exactly.
And it's when you see that the failures is not just the failure itself, but it's the lessons that they've learned from it. It's the things that made them stronger from the circumstance, that the situation that they went through. It's the stories that they're able to tell that makes them relatable to other people. Like when you see failure as like, all that great stuff that can come from it, then you'll never be like, oh, you'll never be down like again when you fail.
Our 9th tip is to create a plan moving forward. Okay, so now you failed. You failed. You've learned from your mistakes.
Yeah, you felt the pain.
You felt the pain.
You've sat with the pain.
You sat with the pain.
You acknowledged that those silly thoughts that came, they're just silly and irrational.
Yes.
And
you've learned from it. Now you've written down, okay, what you could have done better. Now is how do we move on from here?
Yes.
Right? What's the plan? You know, I've learned from my mistake. How do I, if I'm going to do this again, what am I going to do differently?
Yes.
Right? That is what creating a plan to move forward is all about, right? It's okay, well, I'm going to, for example, a driving test. Right? How many people feel that? You know, but you know, when you get that heartbreaking news, you know, you found out that, you know, you got a major and you get told by the driving person, you know, your driving instructor, sorry, you know, you didn't pass this time. Absolutely heartbreaking. And I know, trust me, it's heartbreaking. I've never failed. I didn't fail my driving test, like, you know, but I passed first time. But from Sharice's experience, it's more like how would I advise her to move on from that? And she would say, okay, well, you know, I failed at roundabouts, you know. Next time I go to my driving instructor, I'm going to say, you know what, that last test I did, I wasn't very confident about going on roundabouts. I want to practice roundabouts. I wasn't confident in parallel parking. I wanna practice that. So that is then the plan to move forward. Yeah. I hope that makes sense, guys. Last but not least, our 10th tip: face your fears of failure.
Ooh.
Right? Some of you don't do things because you're scared. You have fear inside of you. You have fear of failing inside of you. Guys, get over it, right? As Cherie said earlier, you can't learn anything in life without failing. So face your fear of failure, practice stepping out of your comfort zone, and believe me, the more you fail, the more you learn, the closer you are to your success.
Honestly, big time. A lot of people feel like, oh, I don't need to I need to learn from other people's mistakes. I need to know how to do things. Or they have this big picture of the way that they see that their life must go. And like, even when Michael said, oh, you know, he passed first time, people might hear his story and be like, oh, I want to pass first time too. And like, they have it in their mind and they have to. And then because they have so much expectation built up inside of themselves for this plan, this big thing that they want to achieve, you're afraid not to meet up to that expectation. You're afraid to have that great plan, to be able to say, oh, I passed first time, and if I don't pass first time, then I can't do it. So let me just not do my test yet. Let me wait. Let me continue doing my lessons. And you know that you're ready, but you continue doing your lessons because you're too afraid to fail the test. It doesn't make sense. Like, you have to understand that there's expectations that you have. Analyze those. Like, even if you don't like pass first time, is it the worst thing in the world? No, it's not. So don't be afraid to fail. Like, just do it. Like, at the end of the day, I passed on my 3rd time. You know, can I still drive? Yeah.
So funny, right? Every time you failed and you went back a better driver.
Yes, much confident driver every time. Like, if I pass the first time, it's just that. You wouldn't want to be in a car with me, and you wouldn't want to be on the road that I'm on, okay? Yeah.
Guys, again, thank you so much for your time. I really hope that you found these tips useful and valuable. And believe me, you're going to watch this video, and I want you to watch it again and again and again, because every day you fail at something. Right? Even when you're cooking, something comes out of the oven or out of the pot, it doesn't taste the way that you thought it would taste. That's a failure. But you learn from that. You're like, okay, what can I improve in this dish? Kind of thing.
What did I take it out or put it back in? Or did I not follow the recipes?
Exactly, exactly. And my kind of final thoughts are, guys, we fail every day. You choose how you want to react to it. Do you want to remain in despair, or do you want to take the lesson from it to help you build towards success? It's been amazing, guys. Thank you so much for your time once again, and we will see you on the next video.
Yeah, subscribe, like, and comment, and share the video.
Yes, guys, and let us know, you know, your best point out of this video, and comment below. Comment
Let's get
below,
a discussion going.
and let's get a discussion going. Bye, guys.
Bye.